Hi, Rick, Black Rifle, back at you. Good morning. We're going to talk about the Leatherwood 8 to 32 by 50. This is my precision rifle. This is a 223 Palmetto State Armory lower with an Anderson upper, a stainless steel 24-inch barrel, fluted, and it has a 1 1/8 twist, and this setup is primarily a varmint rifle, long-range shooting rifle. I've hit targets with this rifle at 1,000 yards with the Fiocchi 77 grain boat tail hollow point bullet. This is one fine shooting rig here. Well, we're going to talk about this Leatherwood scope. Also, I picked this up at SPORTSMAN'S also. I like the Leatherwood. Like in previous videos, I was first introduced to the Leatherwood Art Scope, Art 1, with my XM21 sniper rifle in 308 in the early 70s. So I graduated sniper school, and the XM21 was the rifle we were using in the 101st Airborne Division back then. The rifle that shot a 173 grain match 118 ammo for sniping. The drums inside the Art Scope were set up for that caliber. It was specifically set up for that round and that rifle. Jim Leatherwood, he was before his time, and they got the Leatherwood company. I think Hilux owns it now, or either Leatherwood owns Hilux, I'm not sure which, but they make some fine rifle scopes at an economical price. Why buy a Zeiss, a Hensoldt, or some foreign scope that costs $3,000–4,000? Some of them. I can't see putting that money in a scope when pound for pound you put me on a KD range of 500 meters and I'll go against anybody with one of them high dollar scopes and score just as good as they do. It's all about marksmanship and putting the 4 fundamentals to work when shooting. You know, that's all you got to remember is those 4 fundamentals of rifle marksmanship. If you don't know what they are, I'm not going to tell you. You go look it up. You in the military should know. But we're going to talk about the scope and do a little tabletop discussion on it. This is a nice rifle scope for the money. I think I paid $140 from SPORTSMAN'S.com, I think 2 years ago. So I've had the scope quite a while. I tell you, I can't speak good enough about Anderson Arms. Their barrel and their upper is just fantastic. I just happen to have a lower with an A2 stock on it because I like the A2 stock. I'm not real keen on all those folding stocks, but most of my rifles have those folding stocks. This is the only one I got in a fixed stock, and I have one AR-10 that's got that fancy Magpul $250 stock on it. So one of my AR-10s is like that. And we're going to talk about the Leatherwood. Anyway, let's go over the scope and tabletop. Well, here's the Leatherwood scope, and there's another green blob economical price set of rings. I'll tell you, I can't speak enough of those rings. They're worth every penny I paid for them. The scope has a 30mm tube, As you can see, it's quite long. It's 8 to 32 by 50. The 30mm tube allows for large light gathering, you know. 50mm objective lens. As you see, I have the flip-up covers on my sights. It comes with a cover that's clear you can look through, which is good when you're hunting or doing some varmint hunting and you get a little drizzle comes up and you want to look through your scope, or you have to make a fast shot and you got your covers on there, you can look straight through them. These are not clear, so they don't, you got to flip up the covers. Anyway, enough of that. We'll take the scope off the rifle. As you can see, it mounts perfect to the upper. You have multi-coated optics. You got these high turrets, and you can reset them back to 0 too. You put your dope, you zero your scope. I recommend zeroing it at 200 yards, but you can zero it at 100 yards and just have your round striking 1.5 inches to 2 inches high, and you should be zeroed at 200 yards. With that 77 grain Fiocchi boat tail bullet. I like that cartridge. It really, I tried to load one up just as accurate as it is, but I haven't yet come close. It's a fine cartridge and it shoots a real tight group. This gun really likes that 77 grain bullet for some reason. It likes the Fiocchi ammo. Maybe because I'm Italian, I don't know. But anyway, that's the rifle, and this is the scope. Got it at SPORTSMAN'S.com. I've had it a little more than a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years. Seems to be, you know, I'm getting old. I can't remember back that far. I got so much stuff. I have the Caldwell shooting bag, which I filled with deer corn. So that's a good shooting bag if you go to the range and you want to zero your rifle. I really recommend one of those. Really helps for a nice steady rest on the bench. Like I said, I've shot out to 1,000 yards on a silhouette target, iron silhouette. With this, and was banging the gong, so to speak. You know, you hear that rifle round hit the target. Pang! You hear the little ping, which is satisfying sound. But this is you can't beat it. This rifle scope, Leatherwood, Hilux. Excellent scope. You got your yardage set over here. You got your turret for up and down, or elevation and deflection, if you want to use the military term, and then your windage for left and right. Just one fine optic. Don't spend $1,000 for a scope. You're just wasting your money. Put your money in your rifles. Buy another AR or another 2 ARs for what you're paying for a scope. You could buy 2 ARs all set up real nice. I use particularly Palmetto State Armory, and it's the reason I do that is I'm from South Carolina. I live in the Palmetto State, so I recommend the Palmetto State Armory. It's my state, and it's made 100% Americans, and a lot of veterans work for Palmetto State Armory. There's another company, CBC, down in Charleston, South Carolina, that also makes them, and a lot of them employees are veterans that put those AR-15s together. You could get a standard M4 at Palmetto State Armory for about $449 out the door. You can't beat that price, folks. I mean, it's they're built like tanks. Anybody who tells you any different, they're wrong. They had a problem with their AR-10, the first generation, with being overgassed. But they've corrected the overgas problem with the AR-10, and they have the Type 2 or A2 AR-10, and they improved it. It's got a stainless barrel, 18-inch, and it shoots good groups. You know, 1,000 meters, no problem with that rifle. I have mine set up. It looks like a one of the Knights Armory AR-10s, so that's how mine's set up, and it's in desert camo. It really looks nice. I'll review it one day on the channel. But like I said, you get you one of these Caldwell Rest, you get you this Anderson upper, you get you a lower, whatever lower you want to use. It's up to you. I polish my trigger groups myself. I use a Dremel tool and a polishing wheel and polishing rouge, and all the areas of the trigger have been polished to mirror polish, and it really improves your trigger and the trigger creep and everything. You don't have no problem. I won't put a match trigger or any of them you know, I use the standard stuff. The stuff that comes in the rifle I use. I don't bother with that drop-in stuff, Timney triggers and all of that. They're not powerful enough to break some of the NATO cartridges primer, so that can cause you a problem. So I use particularly the standard trigger group. But that's my opinion, and that's the way I do things. I have no problem hitting my targets. The trigger doesn't make a difference. In the Army, I put forth the effort to practice, to be at the range, to qualify, and not let somebody take a Skillcraft pen and give me expert score. You know, I remember when I was in the 82nd Airborne, I had a platoon sergeant come up to me and order me to change the guy's scorecard to expert. He hit 24 targets, and you know that's not expert. 24 targets, come on. The guy was going before the board to be E5, and they wanted him to be an E5, and they wanted me to just throw away my integrity and change his scorecard. That's when I was in 3rd Battalion 325. I wouldn't do it, and a lot of people were mad at me because of that. And I'll tell you, it's just you don't help nobody when you cheat. You cheat yourself, you know. Give the kid a shotgun, you know. That's what I told the first sergeant. But they changed his scorecard, and they let him go before the board as an expert rifleman. So, you know, it really frosts my jaw the way the Army does their marksmanship program. I think they all should be styled after the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps had one of the best marksmanship programs in the armed forces, and those guys that qualified expert, they were real experts. They weren't a Skillcraft pen marked expert, you know. I don't know what they use today. Some of the towers on the M16 ranges have a hit counter. It counts the hits on the target when it strikes it. It registers it upstairs in the control room. The range master